an Erios original.
Jeffrey Epstein's death is raising troubling questions about how such a high-profile suspect could apparently take his own life while in custody.
He was a predator. He groomed her. He had help.
People that have information on the Clintons end up dead, and they usually die from suicide.
The former financier was found dead in his jail cell in Lower Manhattan.
Ghislaine Maxwell reportedly grabbing lunch at In-N-Out in L.A. According to the
One
tabloid,
accuser says she took part in an orgy on Epstein's private island in 2002.
The Island of Sin.
Hello and welcome to Web Crawlers, the podcast where we do a deep dive into some of our favorite unsolved mysteries. Each week we will introduce our topic, lay out our research and findings, reveal some conspiracy theories, and conclude with our own hypothesis. Who knows, we might even solve the case. I am Allie Siegel.
And I am Melissa Stetton. So this week we have a special Jeffrey Epstein joint two-part episode with Rachel and Desi of Hollywood Crime Scene.
Hi.
Hi. Hi, guys.
Hey.
Good to have you here. In episode 1, which you can download off the Hollywood Crime Scene podcast page on Apple Podcast or Spotify, they'll give you a rundown of all the facts of the case. And then episode 2, which is now, we're going to load you up with some conspiracy theories, which you'll be able to deep dive down into the rabbit hole with us. That was...
I wrote that whole paragraph except for when Melissa just decided to improv.
I moved some words around and then...
I wrote that until Melissa decided to go off the cuff. And
I became dyslexic for a minute there.
Okay, so to back up, you first of all should listen to episode 1.
Right.
Just so you know all the facts. But if you haven't, or if you did and now you're listening to episode 2 and you have someone new in the car... or new with you.
It's like the last week on ever.
Yes. What's like the one? What's
someone
the
you're
elevator
forcing
pitch?
to listen to this episode.
Yes, Desi or Rachel. What's like the elevator pitch of who Epstein is, or like what he did? How would you describe it?
Go ahead, Rachel. He's a billionaire financier who recently died allegedly by suicide, and he was a man who fucked underage girls and had a whole ring of people
helping him.
Yeah, that's
the gist of him.
Yeah,
that's the jizz.
That's the jizz lane.
That's the jizz of him.
Lane of Jeffrey Epstein. Oh God, there's so many good sound bites. Okay, so now we're fast forwarding to now. He's dead, allegedly by suicide. We say everything we should do because Maria likes it when we say this. We should do everything allegedly.
So we're going to have a lot of allegedly.
We're going to have a lot of allegedly.
Let's just say this is allegedly a podcast.
This is allegedly a podcast where everything we're saying is alleged.
Yeah.
A lot of air quotes. Okay, first let's talk about the suicide. There was a 4chan post 38 minutes before his death was reported. The post said, "Don't ask me how I know, but Epstein died an hour ago from hanging cardiac arrest." Then they added more details. Attempts to resuscitate Epstein were made for 40 minutes before he was transported to the hospital, at which point medical personnel tried to revive him for another 20 minutes. Who gave and posted this info? Was it an EMT worker, a medical practitioner? Did an inmate tell another inmate who had access to the outside who posted it on 4chan? Was it a guard? Who
knows?
Why 4chan?
I like that anything that has a preface of like, don't ask me. It's just like, just give us the information, bitch.
Yeah.
Like,
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like this is one of those pieces of information that could be very simple. Like it could just be an EMT who was working on him. It doesn't necessarily strike me as something that's like, ooh, like it wasn't like the day before, like heads up, guys.
This is gonna
you know
happen.
what I mean? Like,
yes.
But it definitely adds, I think it's like something that adds to the whole pool of things for sure.
Allure of it.
Yeah.
Because it's in real time, essentially, like you're saying. It's 38 minutes before. It's while it's happening.
It's not before he died. Like
it's
he's
just before
gonna
it's
die
announced.
Announced.
Right.
It's announced. Mm-hmm. But if it is an EMT worker, there's a lot of implications for that because it's the What's the oath you have to take?
The Hippocratic?
Yeah.
Or there's probably something.
Oh, yeah, because this person is being investigated. Because the terms they used were like a 10-4, 7-6, like it was all these weird like things that only an EMT worker would know.
Yeah, so that's
so they do suspect that it was an EMT worker.
Yeah,
right?
Someone the language that was used.
Yeah, someone on the inside. Autopsy concluded that he hung himself, but it also showed broken neck bones, which are more consistent in homicide victims who are strangled. Although olds can break bones in their neck from hanging during suicide. Olds. He could have been strangled in the cell and made it look like a suicide potentially. Also, the way he hung himself was with a sheet tied around his neck, attached to the top of a bunk bed. He had a bunk bed?
How
he
tall
had a bunk bed.
was the bunk bed?
That's weird.
Well, there's like something I'm always fascinated with hangings because there's something called like low drop hanging where you basically just kneel and you like lean forward or something like
your
that.
Body like try to save itself.
That's what I don't get about those. I mean, maybe you typically would put yourself or get really drunk or have a lot of drugs in your system where you would pass out. But I always find that to be such a weird or suspicious. Like the only time I've ever seen it was in The Wire where one of the characters did that on a doorknob. But it was like a murder, but they made it look like that. But it was kind of like a creepy, because I'm kind of fascinated with that type of suicide because it seems really difficult.
I mean, I've heard of that before, absolutely. That people do have done that.
Like these low, where it's not a drop. That
But also the quote unquote low drop hanging, I don't think you would break neck bones. That seems inconsistent.
That's the other thing, because there isn't that drop that snaps your neck or strangles you where you would be like swinging kind of. But it was like a more gentle, I mean, that's an awful word for it, but like it doesn't seem like you would break the hyoid bones.
Right.
Interesting.
But yeah, it's weird.
Yeah,
I need to like, I want to see it. Like, I'm so gruesome. Like, I want to see like,
I tried to Google image like bunk bed hanging suicide, but all that came up were Heaven's Gate photos.
Oh, right. I saw that in the document. I was laughing. I was like, Heaven's Gate? Like,
and I was like, well, there aren't any, but like, did he know how to tie a noose?
Well, that's the other thing. How do you kill yourself without Google to like figure out like, you know what I mean? Like,
I think plenty of people killed themselves before Google,
but not like that way. It seems like it would be.
No, they never
figure
did
it out so you don't like fuck yourself up and survive.
He's lived a pretty dark life, though. He's probably Googled how to.
He knows how to tie a noose.
Of course he does.
Before he went in, figured out. Some
if he killed himself at all, though,
right.
You know,
that's true.
Some men, allegedly, men connected with Epstein. There's Trump. And this is all we covered in the last one. But Trump, his best friend at a time, but they had a falling out over, I read, a piece of property that they both wanted.
Oh. That sounds like a very like Trump thing, like that he would be mad about.
Yes.
I'm guessing it's very easy to fall out with Trump.
I think so too.
Yeah.
Honestly. Anytime like there's a sociopathic friendship, I don't think two ego-driven
you look at him
men
the wrong way.
Right.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not your friend. You're dead to me.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think they both wanted the same piece of property and then they stopped being friends with each other. Cool. Bill Clinton, I don't know if they're friends, but they were connected with each other. Bill Clinton flew on his plane many times. Alec Baldwin was allegedly in Epstein's black book. Woody Allen was at an Epstein-hosted dinner party, and he's seen in photos with Epstein. Senator George Mitchell. David Copperfield proposed to Claudia Schiffer on Epstein's private island.
What?
Whoa.
How close is his island to Epstein's island?
David Copperfield
he has his own island.
Oh, he does?
Really?
Yes, he does.
Then why did Copperfield propose on Epstein's island?
Was this before he had his
Go to your own island.
Maybe it wasn't as special. We're there all the time. Like,
they
I
needed
feel
some
like if you
flower
own your own
girls.
island, you're fucking suspicious.
It's in the Bahamas.
100%.
Yeah.
Because it's like, what are you doing on your
What do you
island?
need your own island
If
for?
you have a safe or an island, nothing's good for you. Or
Absolutely.
Bitcoin.
Bitcoin, yeah.
Yeah.
Come on.
It's Musha Cay in the Bahamas,
Okay.
and it's where are the Virgin Islands?
That's more.
I literally
south
don't
by
know where
Florida,
anything
I
is.
think.
Where any of these
Yeah,
places
I don't even
think
know where
it's
the 50
more-
states are.
Yeah.
Do you know how I learned the 50 states?
How?
Oh, wait,
The
I'm thinking-
Macarena.
Oh my God. Wait,
Yeah.
did they say the states in that song?
California, Oregon, Washington, Nevada, Arizona, Utah, Idaho, Montana, Wyoming, Colorado, New Mexico, and Texas.
that's like a school
Hey,
thing.
Oklahoma. Yeah.
Wait, that's not in alphabetical order?
No, it's like in the order of what it looks like.
Oh.
Because I know alphabetical order. Alabama, Alaska, Arizona, Arkansas, California, Colorado, Connecticut.
Me and Rachel are like high school dropouts. We're like, we don't have any songs.
Much like Epstein. Charlie Rose. This one is crazy.
Oh, gross.
Yeah. Okay. So
for some reason, I'm extra gross when they're already a predator themselves.
Oh, I know.
For some reason.
Charlie Rose had several. Okay. So Epstein called Charlie Rose several different times trying to find him personal assistants, recommending different women to be personal assistants to Charlie Rose, and highly recommended one specific girl, saying that she was a personal assistant for Harvey Weinstein.
Oh, what?
This poor woman.
Yeah. And can you imagine this poor girl?
Jesus.
And this was in an MSNBC interview with the New York Times deputy editor that they were talking about this. And then
Isn't that who Charlie Rose was accused of assaulting? One of his assistants or something?
my God,
It was someone who worked with him.
Yeah. It may have been a coworker, but not an assistant, but yeah.
I'm sure there's even more that's going to come out. And then there's Leslie Wexner, billionaire investor.
He's the Victoria's Secret guy.
The Victoria's Secret guy.
Yep.
Bed Bath Body.
Bed Bath and Body Works.
Oh,
Bath and Body Works.
I was like, Melissa, there's several establishments mixed together.
Fusion. It's a fusion store.
Bath and Body Works.
I know when I saw one of the articles, I guess it was before he had those companies, it was just the Limited, and I was like, the Limited?
Oh yeah, the Limited.
How are you a billionaire from that?
And Express.
Well, the Limited too.
yeah, that is true. And he's the only person whose money Epstein has actually ever managed. So there's talk about Epstein being like a hedge fund manager and managing billions of dollars for people. The only person whose money Epstein has ever actually managed is Leslie Wexner, and people on Wall Street have no like affiliate, don't ever remember ever having actually worked with Epstein.
So essentially him managing just this one account is like a huge front for something else.
As definitely a front for something
Or
else.
at least it comes off that way.
Yes. Like, how does he
still
have all this
alive,
money?
Wexler?
Yes.
Yeah.
He is.
Oh, he's in trouble.
He's in something.
think?
Yeah,
Like,
something.
come on.
Yeah. And then there's obviously Prince Andrew.
That creep.
Yeah. Okay, Melissa, you found some sort of blind.
There was, well, actually, Maria, our producer, sent us this.
Maria, do you want it? Oh, you don't have a mic.
And she has bronchitis.
And she has bronchitis. Maria texted us a great joke while we were.
Oh.
Yeah, it was a good joke.
Yeah. She said that Jeffrey Epstein is a misogynist, but like, so like massage. But anyways,
Thanks, Maria.
Okay, thanks, Maria. Keep
So
going.
this is on Crazy Days and Nights.
Oh, I know Crazy Days and
the
Nights.
blind item article is from 2018. This is like before everything happened.
Right.
So it talks about an extremely rich man who was Epstein's first customer. This guy was in a horrible marriage and he wanted someone very young. Oof. And he has kept this woman in his life ever since she was a mistress. He ended up marrying again, but the love of his life is the mistress. And so we kind of speculated that it could have been Ted Turner, maybe?
Oh.
Allegedly? I don't know. There's multiple people it could have been.
I need more clues. I don't know.
Yeah. There's also a celebrity who's a permanent A-list actor who frequented Epstein's island and called all the young teens by the name of his daughter.
That is so gross.
Wait,
That has to be
young
Alec
teen.
Baldwin.
Well, Alec Baldwin or John Voight.
Gross.
A lot of people speculate that
I
it could
feel
be
like it's
Alec
John
Baldwin.
Voight.
Well, what are
my
Alec
gut tells
Baldwin's
me it's John Voight.
daughter's name?
Ireland.
Ireland.
Ireland. He's not calling these girls Ireland. Angie seems like a
Angie
more...
seems
Yeah.
like,
Hey,
can't you-
Angie.
Hey, can't you picture John Voight calling all the girls Angie? Plus,
Hey,
like him and
Ange.
his daughter have this like
They
fucked
hate
up,
each other.
estranged relationship.
Yeah, they do.
Although Alec had a thing with Ireland.
That's
too.
true.
Yeah, he called her a
He
pig
called
or
her
whatever.
Oh, a
rude,
disgusting
thoughtless little
pig.
pig.
Right. But they don't they seem like they don't hate each other now.
No. I think
Because
they're
I've
fine
seen
now,
some
but
weird
still.
comments on her, like sexy pictures on Instagram from him.
Wait, really?
Yeah.
What?
He comments on her photos. And he's like, looking good.
Oh,
whatever.
so weird.
Like, it's so weird.
But
and like
that
her
would make
uncles do too.
sense for Alec Baldwin, though, if he's like having sex with these underage girls and he like hated his daughter for a period or is like angry at them and like...
But the fact that Alec plays Trump on SNL makes me think that he wouldn't be I don't know.
Oh, that's a good point.
He's too in the limelight about politics stuff. In
And
that
John Voight's a
parody.
conservative.
Yeah.
Not that
Yes.
politics matter into
Right.
any of this, honestly, because
Because it's on both sides.
yeah, of course.
Yeah, I would go with John Voight. You guys know that he was on the plane at some point? Like there's a record of that? Or
I don't know. Is he on it?
So we do have
I
a
don't
record
know.
that Alec Baldwin
Alec
took
Baldwin
in
was.
at some point.
Yes, he was in his black book. And then there's also an Emmy-winning director who cast a 15-year-old girl that he had sex with for a role. And that 15-year-old girl is still working today and is close to or at A-list.
Well, it just makes you realize how they're all kind of connected.
Yeah, it's there's so many rabbit holes to go down.
Yeah, people can be connected in like so many different ways too. Like we could speculate about this particular blind item with so many different people would fit this. You know?
So then we have some guys who flew on his plane, the Lolita Express. Chris Tucker, Kevin Spacey, and then we did. Matt Groening got a foot massage.
Oh, that's the grossest story.
I know, it's so sad.
It's really
the Simpsons
sad.
creator. Yeah, the girl gave him a foot massage in exchange for pictures of Bart Simpson.
That is the saddest exchange.
It's so sad. Well, also just because she's like this young girl who like loves The Simpsons so much.
Yeah.
And just
gross.
And why would he do that? Why? Is
And then
he-
she described his feet as being really revolting.
Yes. Yeah. She was
I mean,
like,
I'm
his
not
toe-
surprised by that, honestly.
Right.
I can't even imagine his feet.
And
You
I
know
love
they're
The
gross.
Simpsons.
Like,
I love The Simpsons too. It
Seasons
makes it-
1 through 9, but I love The Simpsons.
We have an exact episode where you're out. You're done.
Yeah, of course.
But it makes me so sad that you. Oh God! And he's.
I have a lot of friends who love The Simpsons, and they were like devastated by that on like Twitter. I saw them be like, "No, can I go back in time?"
Even if you're not engaging in like illicit sexual activity, it shows that there's so many men who engage in some sort of inappropriate, like think it's okay for a 15-year-old to give you a foot massage
Or think it's okay, just look the other way when they know some other man is doing something else.
Yes,
right,
absolutely. Also, this is a question that I had under this section about the quote unquote like Lolita Express. Are we all calling it the Lolita? Like, is Epstein like come on my plane the Lolita Express, or is that a self-titled?
I think it was, right? It's what he called it, right?
He might have called it secretly that, but I doubt it was like the official.
Yeah.
Like it's not like written on the side Lolita Express. Because I'm like, is that something
I
other
said it
people
was nicknamed the Lolita Express.
That's so
That's what I've always heard it been called.
Right,
yeah.
And I bet he seems like the kind of sick fuck that would like joke around like, oh,
Yeah,
look, my
come
Lolita Express.
There's also something really gross, and maybe I'm just like too into reality TV, but it's always like people just get such boners for private jet rides.
Yes.
Do you know what I mean? Like, it's like
get
they're so
over
willing
it.
to do anything to get on a private jet. Like it's like the highlight of their like, you know,
Right.
it's like, ooh, I can go on a private
It's like
jet.
it's still
like,
air travel. It sucks.
Yeah, it's like people who like limos. It's like, who fucking cares? But I always notice that with people with private jets. It's like,
Yeah.
I mean, sure, I'd go on one, but it's like, I don't fucking care. I'm not going to put up with this bullshit just to get a free private jet ride. Like,
I read once that one of the girls, her job was to make peanut butter and jelly sandwiches for the celebs and people who went. And I'm like,
Why
what?
peanut butter and jelly?
That was my thought too. I was like, if it's a PJ, well, I guess it's PJ, but like a private jet. Why are you having peanut butter and jelly sandwiches on the private
can you imagine
jet?
being on a private jet and getting that?
A
Like,
peanut butter and jelly sandwich? It's
like if I did go on one, I would be expecting like something a little better than that.
Right.
Like,
Yeah,
what is it, like
gourmet meal.
squirrel? Like,
I know, it's horrible. Okay, Melissa, who else?
Well, there's Alexander Costa, who we talked about on the first part about he got Jeffrey Epstein out of his first conviction, where he only served like 13 months. And I was reading an article in democracynow.org where the plea deal was called the most lenient deal for a serial child sex offender in history.
it's crazy. Like, I don't think I realized he was actually convicted. I thought he just kind of got off somehow, like, or they didn't go through with it. I didn't realize
I
it
didn't
actually
realize
went
either.
through where they could never try him again for that particular charge. Like,
13, and he was like, he got to leave the prison. He was like,
It's disgusting.
Yeah,
and
it's
I mean,
awful.
obviously, like,
it's really,
you think
it's
about people
unbelievable.
who you think about people, the sentences they get for like
marijuana
possession.
Yeah.
And it's like, it just makes you sick to your stomach.
It's really gross. And he's awful.
Yeah. It's bad. Also, it's just for 2 acts of prostitution.
right.
Which alleges that these young girls who are in 8th and 9th grade are somehow prostitutes as opposed to children who are being
trafficked.
Right, as if they had
raped.
the ability to say, hey.
Yeah, some sort of say in it. Like
I'm a
they're
sex
selling
worker.
themselves.
Yeah.
Right.
It's crazy. The plea deal allowed Epstein to avoid a federal trial and possible life in prison and effectively ended an FBI probe into the case. Acosta became Trump's Secretary of Labor. He's now resigned in July. And by the way, as Secretary of Labor advocates for workers' rights, which is crazy. That's that's the job of a Secretary of Labor, and his job in this was just calling little girls who are raped prostitutes.
Cool job, dude.
Seems
so I went on another rabbit hole where I found a guy named Stephen Jude Hoffenberg. So this guy was apparently Epstein's first mentor and his business partner in the mid-'80s. But then in 1993, everything fell apart when it turned out Hoffenberg's company was a Ponzi scheme. So this guy Hoffenberg pleaded guilty to securities fraud. He spent 20 years in prison. Epstein pleaded guilty to conspiring to steal treasury checks from residential mailboxes and got 5 years probation. Apparently, you'll talk about that. Sorry, in the next paragraph.
Okay. Cool. Sick. Hoffenberg claims they started the Ponzi scheme together, but Epstein took a plea deal to rat him out. Hoffenberg was ordered to pay back $400 million, but he didn't have it. He thinks Epstein stole all the profits to start his own hedge fund. So maybe that's where all this money came from. This woman on Twitter, Susan Simpson, was tweeting about Hoffenberg and found a statement where Hoffenberg claims that in 1997, Epstein and Wexler were blackmailed by Wexler's attorney regarding child sex trafficking and thinks Epstein killed Wexler's attorney. What?
Yeah. So that guy, Leslie Wexler, this guy's attorney is apparently, I can't find him. Nobody knows who he is or what his name was. But this guy, Hoffenberg, I don't know if he was just like upset, but he's like, yeah, they killed this attorney because they knew about the child sex trafficking. And he swears that Epstein murdered this man.
Wow.
I don't put it past him.
Yeah. If he knew something.
Yeah. There's also, this is another murder that's kind of correlated. Deborah Jean Palfrey, also known as the DC Madam.
Oh.
Yeah. Did you hear?
I didn't hear about this, but I know who she was, and I know she died.
Yeah, she died mysteriously, suicide by hanging, quote unquote, suicide by hanging, much like Epstein. But according to her Wikipedia, which is where all the good information comes from.
In the personal section.
Yeah, in the personal section. Sylvie, Palfrey's former attorney, claims to have her phone records and that they are relevant to the 2016 personal election.
Presidential.
Wow. Presidential election. Her personal election.
My personal election.
Like a lot of us took it very personally.
Yeah, so it was personal.
That's true.
So this DC madam who allegedly had information about the presidential election mysteriously died by suicide.
When did she die? Do you have that or?
Yeah, let's see.
That's really interesting. And I wonder if there's like some connection to suicide by hanging where that's like murder, like that's the murderiest kind of suicide. Do you know what I mean?
It's probably the easiest to cover up, right?
Yeah.
Right. Because there's no gun or
she
residue.
Died
May 1st, 2008.
Yeah.
And it's possible you could break your hyoid bone. So it's not like...
right. Yeah. You can't really determine if it was... Mm-hmm.
That's interesting.
How'd she have info about the 2016 election if she died in 2008?
Look, I'm sorry I asked the question. Well, it could have been something about Trump, though.
That is true.
Like maybe it was relevant to 2016, but she didn't know it.
I love that we're discovering new things as the show goes on.
That's how we roll.
I do laugh when I listen to it because I could tell you guys are like, hold on a second. we're web crawling.
I love it. This is just me on the computer.
Going like, wait, is this nope?
Nope.
No,
Yeah,
just having to like
that.
cut out like 10 minutes of silence.
Okay. So maybe scrap that, but I swear I think it's relevant.
No, I like it. I'm also into the 8 years. Like she knew before Trump knew.
More than the EMT guy.
That is true. She was sitting on information for years. She is rolling in her grave. Money theory. Okay, so how is he making his money if he only has one client?
Right.
And he was gifted this. His one client is Victoria's Secret dude. He's a hedge fund manager, but only had one client, Wexler, who dropped him 15 years ago, and no one on Wall Street has any ties to him. In an NBC interview with David Wallace Wells, who's a New York Times deputy editor dude, he implies that perhaps he's trafficking Saudi money. Because Epstein we'll get into it later, Epstein has a fake Saudi passport.
Yep.
Or he said intelligence relationship with Israel or the U.S. What does that mean? Like he's in the CIA?
He might be working for them.
I believe anything when they talk about Saudi money.
Me too. I'm like, yes, I don't know what that means, but yes, he's absolutely Saudi money. Do you think that Epstein could have, no.
Could have what?
What if Epstein's what if he's like a mole in a child sex trafficking case and...
Well, I have a theory about that. My theory on how he makes his money.
Okay.
I think he has talked people into investments and partnerships, becomes their friend, invites them to the island. He invites celebrities to the island. They all have a great time. And then he slowly starts supplying them with underage girls. But then he's like, oh, they're 18. They're 18. And then he has hidden cameras in every room. That was like in an FBI raid. So then all of a sudden he would blackmail them and then be like, oh, I have video of you having sex with these underage girls.
Give me your money.
You need to pay me this amount of money.
Oh, interesting.
And it has to be laundered,
it has to be in like a fake company or something. And then with the politicians and government officials, maybe he didn't necessarily take their money, but was like, I need special treatment and privileges from this government.
Right.
Because I have video of you having sex with...
Or give me other connections, like the Saudi Arabian. Wasn't he one of the people, the Saudi Arabian?
Oh, the crown prince of Saudi Arabia. Yeah, so maybe that's what happened with Alexander Acosta.
Right.
Oh, how did he get the island in the first place? Where do you got to have a lot of money to buy an island?
I feel like he just kind of like cheated people out of money because he was in partnership with that Ponzi scheme guy.
There's so many ways to cheat people out of money.
Like that Firefest guy.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
I feel like you can cheat people out of money, but you just can't get busted.
Yeah.
That's only when it crumbles that they all get busted. Yep. Like if you can keep it going somehow.
I just don't have that skill. That's just like a skill. Like I'm always like baffled like how people just like acquire millions of dollars like through total fraud. Like first of all, I'd like feel really bad immediately. I'd be like, oh my God, I'm sorry. Like I lied.
I don't have the confidence.
Yeah, I would just feel like I would get busted every minute of the day. I'd be paranoid.
Yeah. That being said, donate to our Patreon. Patreon.com.
That's not a pyramid scheme.
No, it's not a Ponzi scheme.
You're actually getting something
we
for
do
it.
need Web Crawlers Island.
I mean, maybe it was like not a great island.
That is true.
It could have been like a low busted island.
Yeah, I mean, there's so
many islands out there.
There's a lot of islands.
It could even be something where like someone sold it to him and they're like, I don't even own it. Like no one, like they schemed him.
That's interesting. I like that theory though, that maybe, but why would they surfacely still seem friendly with him? Maybe just because they had to.
Well, they have to.
But wouldn't there be going around in circles like, oh, don't fucking, he's going to dupe you. Like, he's going to get you. He has cameras. Don't go to his island.
But maybe part of the blackmail is you need to get other people to come.
Like,
you can't tell. Or
recruiting people.
Then why wouldn't they whack him earlier?
Yeah,
right.
That's true.
You know, why wouldn't they off him earlier? He's just one dude.
Because it could be something like, oh, when I die, I'll release this manila envelope with all the proof. Do you know what I mean? Like it could. He's like, I got Ghislaine.
I think it's Occam's razor that there's just a lot of really shitty millionaires that like having sex with underage girls.
That's for sure true.
Yeah,
that's what I think. That's my personal opinion.
I do think if he had a scheme to start blackmailing people, he gets a little bit of money somehow. Because sometimes that can just happen if you are connected to the right people. He immediately is like, I'm going to buy the island and set it up for this blackmail scheme. Like if he went into it knowing that was his ultimate plan to buy an island, he saved up all his money for the island. And then he's like, once that's set, because like I said with the private jets, I think people are also like, ooh, I'll go to your private island. Like that also sounds good.
Like, because also he did stuff there that wasn't innately sexual. also.
Sure, yeah, he had like parties.
Yeah, there were parties, I think, with like the Victoria's Secret models.
Yeah.
Or I read somewhere also where like Stephen Hawking was there.
Oh, yeah, I saw that. Yeah.
Yeah,
that was one of his.
Yeah, there was some sort of scientific conference there. But to be fair, I feel like you're about to say this.
No, you say it.
Didn't Stephen Hawking like hand jobs and stuff?
What? No, I was not about to say that.
That was at the tip of Rachel's tongue.
This is brand new information to me.
I swear to God, didn't Stephen Hawking get hand jobs from his nurses, and that's why he got divorced from his first wife?
I did. That was in the movie. Wasn't that in the movie that he had?
It was not in the movie. What movie version did you watch where Stephen Hawking
It was a director's cut.
It was the porn parody based on the Oscar-winning movie starring.
Let me clarify. It wasn't explicitly always getting hand jobs, but he did have an affair in that movie.
You know, in the movie where he got the really long hand job.
And that's the scene they played at the Academy Awards.
Yes. That was the clip that won him the best actor.
There's a bonus scene for Stephen Hawking.
It's in the director's cut. Look it up.
Oh my God, that's so funny. But maybe Stephen Hawking's was getting HJs
Hand
there
jobs.
too.
Oh.
He's dead now. Right?
You know what?
Yeah.
He doesn't care.
Yeah.
He's dead.
Roll in peace. Also, this is weird. We didn't write this down. We weren't going to cover it. But why was there like a church on the island?
What?
Was it a church? Or it was like a temple.
Whatever. A temple. a temple church mausoleum thing.
Oh, right.
That he said initially was being built as a music conservatory or concert
piano?
hall.
He did?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, when he was a kid.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
But then it looks like some sort of temple.
Yeah.
Weird.
Yeah, it was modeled after like Israeli design.
Yeah.
Okay.
If you look on YouTube, there's a drone that actually is circling the property.
Currently?
Yeah.
Those are awesome.
Oh my God.
Yeah, and there's drone footage of the FBI raid.
Are there a lot of other buildings there, or just like the main house and
Well,
the
it's
temple?
the house, and then there's like where the boats are, like garages, and there's like the
Right.
temple. Then there's like
Is there an airport or something, right? Or they took the helicopter. Maybe there's
must
just
be
like
a helicopter. Yeah, I don't
it's
think it was
just a
big enough for an
helipad.
airstrip.
Right.
Yeah.
And then there's like it looks like a hotel. There's
Right.
like rooms outside.
And then there's a weird, it looks like a mosque.
Yeah, that's what it looks
It looks
like.
like a mosque.
Yeah.
Do you know if he built this house or was it already on the island?
I think he built it.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm assuming
So
he built
the
it.
mosque tape temple
Yeah,
thing too.
he definitely built that. I know he for sure built that.
God's like, nice try.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
seriously.
You're not fooling anyone,
Yeah.
bitch.
But then I was like, is that like a human sacrifice? Like that just
Yeah,
seemed
that's
weird.
really creepy.
Okay. Another thing we discussed a little bit was that Jeffrey Epstein was a teacher in the previous episode. Epstein was a high school math teacher at an elite private school called Delton, even though he didn't even graduate college. So this is weird to be a private school teacher if you're not even a college graduate. He was given the job by writer and headmaster Donald Barr, whose son was Attorney General under Bush. His son, William Barr, is also now Attorney General under Trump. According to Wikipedia, Barr is a proponent of unitary executive theory, which holds that the president has broad executive powers. Prior to joining the Trump administration, he argued that the president has complete authority to start or stop a law enforcement proceeding.
How convenient.
Weird, right?
He's awful.
Yeah, so that's fucked up.
I just like to make a correction. I did call him Bob Barr instead of Bill Barr.
Whatever.
Because there is a Congressman Bob Barr, and I always mess those up. So
be fucking
I do
anyone.
now, guys. I do now.
This part is weird and up for debate. Lottery ticket. Do you guys know about this?
No.
Oh my God, this is crazy. Okay, so Melissa, do you want to take this one?
Yeah, there was a lottery ticket won in Oklahoma City in 2008, I think? 2008. And it was for $85 million. And a company called the Zorro Trust claimed it. The Zorro Trust is the name of Epstein's ranch in New Mexico.
Oh.
It's called the Zorro Ranch. And what's weird about that drawing is that there was like a glitch that night. Like it wasn't live because like something went wrong. And so it wasn't shown live, and it was just like, oh, these are the numbers. And then like company called the Heritage Trust claimed it. And like they gave it to the Zorro Trust.
So this is like, what is this alleging that the lottery
was rigged?
Company
for Epstein.
was rigged to give him a bunch of money?
Yeah. So it's alleged that Epstein's trust won the lottery the day after Epstein went to jail for the first time.
Oh, that's weird.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's very strange.
One thing I was thinking, go back to the teaching thing. It does seem like this guy just kept getting this like jobs without having any merit.
He's like the ultimate falling up white guy.
Yeah.
Yes.
You know?
Yeah, like just to get that job, and that's where he meets the Bear Stearns guy, and he gets this job in finance without having any experience. Like, how does that keep happening?
Crazy.
Yeah, that's what I'm like.
That's why it's suspicious that there's nothing really about his early life. Like, it's like, do people
Like,
really?
it just makes me mad thinking about like how overqualified I was to be a receptionist at this one.
100%.
At this one place, and they're like, no thank you, you need to have like a degree in psychology to do this job. And it's like, you know what, I know how to answer phones, I did this job for 4 years, like whatever.
No.
And like I remember just like I didn't get the job and being like, what do I need to do to just get this fucking minimum wage stupid job? Like,
no joke, there have been times where like I've been unemployed and I cruise Craigslist and I will apply for like janitorial jobs and they won't email me back.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I went to USC. You can email me back about this being a janitor. You know?
Like you can do it.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah, it's wild to me. And it does make me feel like, because I've heard people can scrub things from the internet. I don't know if that's true, but have you heard of that? Like, is that possible?
If you work at Google, probably.
Like, how could there be nothing about his like early life out there? It's just weird to me.
I don't know.
Because I think maybe he's like, maybe it's Illuminati. How is he getting all this? Well, I don't know what's the Illuminati anyways. But how is he getting all these well-connected jobs?
It's not like he comes from a well-connected
his parents
family.
weren't
Like, he's, like
famous or anything.
It's weird.
He must have, I bet you, he was some sort of running boy growing up for all these high-profile people doing weird odd jobs, killing people, doing something weird.
Like mafia
or maybe
type
he
stuff.
from a very early age was finding out things about people to use against them. Like that was his thing.
Just scheming his whole life.
Kind of scheming to get things.
Yeah.
Sure, yeah. That's
Something
possible.
was up.
So I found this article in Vanity Fair in 2003 by Vicky Ward that it's so gross. It's like Epstein is charming, but doesn't let the charm slip into his eyes. They are steely and calculating, giving some hint at the steady whir of machinery running behind them. It was like this whole piece on how great Jeffrey Epstein is.
Isn't that? I saw that piece too, and it's like he got a Vanity Fair profile in like the early 2000s. Like that's crazy.
Who wrote this? Vicky?
It's this woman named Vicky Ward. So she also in the article says one young woman recalls being summoned by Ghislaine Maxwell to a concert at Epstein's townhouse. Many of the girls seemed foreign and dressed a little bizarrely.
Bizarrely?
Yeah, whatever that means. Another cocktail party thrown by Maxwell that Prince Andrew attended was filled with young Russian models, and some of the guests were horrified, apparently. So at the time, the magazine's editor cut out 2 interviews of young women that Vicky Ward had interviewed. One of them was underage, about Epstein raping them.
Jesus.
So this was supposed to be an article, like kind of like a hit piece on them. But Vicky Ward was interviewed 10, 15 years later. She actually wrote an article for the Daily Beast. She said that Epstein would call her all the time and threaten her while she was writing this article and saying, Vicky, if I don't like this piece, something's going to happen to your unborn children, because she was pregnant at the time with twins.
Jesus.
So she's like, I tried to tell people about Epstein in 2003, but he threatened me he would come into Condé Nast and like threaten everyone. Like, you better write something nice about me. And so she's like, I have to, I'm pregnant. I can't.
Yeah.
He's going to murder my children.
Wow.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
What? That's fucking
So
insane.
It's weird to hear these like sinister, like, I mean, obviously he's a horrible monster, but then to hear him actually threatening people, like it's like he tried to present himself, whatever, this like mysterious, charming guy, but then he's doing this shit.
I'll fucking
he's
kill
like
you.
really fucking fucked up. Like, my God, he's scary.
Because I always imagine other people doing his work for him.
Right.
Yeah,
him
he's
doing-
just like the classic fucking entitled piece of shit, like monster.
Yeah. Well, on that note, when they raided his house, which we talked about a little bit, like how his house was weird and there was weird stuff. He had a receipt for books that he bought on Amazon. One, you guys probably know about this already. One was SM 101, A Realistic Introduction by Jay Weissman. The other was Slavecraft, Roadmaps for Erotic Servitude.
Those are books that he just bought on Amazon.
They're both.
And he kept the receipt for tax purposes.
Yeah, like what is it? Write-off?
Amazon.
What is that?
Or I guess in the mail you get like a paper receipt.
But they were both, there are just books about like S&M and BDSM and erotic servitude.
Gross.
I mean, there's nothing wrong with those things.
Yeah, okay.
Rachel
Not kink shaming.
We're not kink shaming.
We're not kink shaming.
But Desi and I have talked about on the show before about like there are certain people who like use BDSM as like a guise to be like
abusive to people.
I'm going to be abusive.
Yeah.
But
Totally.
it's BDSM. Like they don't do actual BDSM.
No.
Right. It's different.
Yeah.
Yeah, what
He
he
just
was
seems
doing
like
is
that
not.
guy.
Yeah, what
No,
he is doing
yeah.
is not BDSM.
No.
No.
But he seems like the guy that would be like, yeah, baby, it's just BDSM. And it's like, no, you're actually just being abusive.
Yeah, it's like I feel like R. Kelly probably operates under that, where
Totally.
he's like he's
yep.
doing like BDSM, and he's like, I'm your daddy. It's like, no, you're starving girls who are underage and leaving them in bedrooms. Like that's not any kind of BDSM relationship. Epstein also had a fake passport. There's an article on NBC News that says Jeffrey Epstein used a foreign passport with fake name to enter Saudi Arabia. The questionable travel document was found inside a safe, along with $70,000 in cash and 48 loose diamonds. And then
No one not sinister ever just has 48 loose diamonds.
It's so crazy.
Ever.
It's insane. Melissa wrote on the document, what do people do with loose diamonds? Are they the Bitcoin of pedophiles? And then I wrote, Bitcoin is the Bitcoin for pedophiles.
Yeah, because you can't trace.
That's true.
You can maybe trace diamonds. No, you
That's
can't
like-
trace diamonds.
No one normal has raw jewels.
No.
Do you? Where did you
No,
go?
it's
Like
like a
blood
super
diamonds?
villain has raw
It's
jewels.
totally
Yes.
super villain.
No, that's
Because it's an untraceable investment. Like, basically.
Yeah, so if he is able to get himself a fake passport that he's using to travel, obviously he's able to do that for other people too.
Yeah.
So think about the other women that he must be getting fake passports for trafficking.
Oh, sure.
cases.
Right.
Especially if there's all these Russian women around. I'm sure he must be
Yep.
getting them fake passports
And like
too.
fake visas and fake green cards and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Well, anyways.
So Epstein is also an investor for this guy named Jean-Luc Burnell, who owns this modeling agency called MC2 Models.
Oh, right.
And this is where most of the models who lived at his apartment, they were signed with this modeling agency. So this guy, Jean-Luc, was complicit in like bringing him young girls. Like scouting models, be like, oh yeah, go live in Epstein's model house or whatever.
Yeah.
And they think they're going to have this great
Career.
highfalutin life
Yeah.
with this billionaire guy
Yeah.
and have all these connections.
Yep.
So gross.
I once, I have a friend who's a porn actress, and she once told me that you should always be like suspicious of porn that has like Russian women who are in it. I'm not saying everything,
right?
But that's kind of a sign like they might not be willing participants in this career, like especially if they seem like sad or like they don't want to be there or something. Like she was like, it's kind of like a sign, because a lot of those girls do get in these sex trafficking rings or something. I mean, I don't know how true it is. That's just what she told me.
I'm sure it's true.
But it did stick with me, because I'm always like, like not that I'm watching porn all the time. But it was like something with like Euro party or something, like certain search terms, or I don't know. But yeah.
Well, you almost
Allegedly.
I had him when I lived in New York back in 2010 through 2012. When I was signing with modeling agencies, I went to MC2. I had a meeting there in 2011.
Was it funky or anything? Was anything weird?
I really don't remember. It was just like a basic modeling. I ended up signing with somewhere else, but I could have been, although I would have been too old
Yeah.
That would have been like 24 or something.
Too old for Epstein.
Yeah.
Right.
No wonder
But it's
they didn't
creepy to go
sign
in
me.
there.
I know.
They really were seeing people, like real models were coming
It's
in.
a legit agency.
Yeah.
There are a lot of top models are there. It's crazy.
Wait, really?
Yeah.
So this isn't just like a front agency.
No, it's an actual modeling agency.
That's insane. Yeah. Still to this day, like, is it close?
I think so.
I mean, it has to tank now. I can't imagine people are like wanting to sign there.
Yeah. MC2 models, Miami, Tel Aviv. Oh, it doesn't say New York anymore.
Well,
maybe they're just in Miami.
Or maybe someone bought them out from that guy. Or
Tel Aviv is interesting.
Yeah, they're now just in Miami. Interesting. Okay, so
this what you found is crazy about Ghislaine's address.
my favorite website, familytreenow.com. Okay, do you guys know about this?
No.
Oh my God.
This website, it pretends to be like a family tree research website, but you put in people's names on there and it shows you their addresses, their phone numbers, their acquaintances, their relatives.
No.
Everything.
I use it all the fucking time.
that's scary.
That's really scary.
Yeah, I bet.
You can,
Wait, we need to see if my address is in there.
you can ask to be removed from it.
I need to see right now. I need to know.
I found this on like a Facebook thread like 8 years ago. Someone was like,
What's
take
last
your
again?
name.
Why am I?
FISHER. I'm really scared. I'm really scared.
Were you born in 1990?
No. Oh, thanks, guys.
Don't take my name off.
Yeah, don't take my name off. I'm 4 years younger.
I don't think you're on here.
Okay, good.
Well,
I have
lot
a
of
common
people-
name.
A lot of people are on there.
Yeah.
Like Ghislaine.
Like Ghislaine is on
Ghislaine,
there.
more
Okay.
importantly.
Jeffrey
That's more
Epstein's
important.
on there too. So I went to her family tree now. She has a lot of addresses listed. So I was Googling all the addresses. There's 12808 Grand Bay Parkway, Jacksonville, Florida. And it comes up as a company named Perfect Privacy LLC. I was like, what the fuck is
Privacy.
that? So I Googled Perfect Privacy and it's like this internet privacy company that Hillary Clinton also used to protect her email server.
Oh.
So
Interesting.
assuming that Ghislaine also used this company for something or the other.
Right.
They're like a legit company.
But to protect your emails
Yeah.
from being hacked or whatever. Or,
Yeah. So that's interesting. Another address was in Virgin Island, 6100 Red Hook Quarters, apartment B3, St. Thomas, Virgin Islands. There is an American Yacht Harbor company that Jeffrey Epstein owns. He owns that whole harbor where he takes his boats out.
Weird.
And then he owns that whole building. And so I Googled the address to the building, and then a name that comes up is a woman named Karina Shuliak. And she's listed as a dentist in this building.
Oh.
But there's no dentist office there. So I Googled her name. And I found a marriage record. She married a woman named Jennifer Ann Kalin on October 9th, 2013. Jennifer Kalin is one of the girls seen in Epstein's photos, like outside of his apartment, like all the time. She's one of the models.
Oh.
So this mysterious dentist from the Bahamas
She's 30.
is married to one of the models.
Married to a model, Jennifer, who was like seen in a lot of pictures with Epstein. And I was like, oh, maybe Jeffrey Epstein like financed her schooling to become a dentist. She's a dentist in the Virgin Islands.
Yeah. That's weird.
But then I posted it on Reddit and someone was like, oh, maybe she's a dentist who supplies him drugs.
Oh.
Because she has access, because there's no office there.
Right.
It's not, she's not
So
a
she
real.
just got a dentist's license to be
Yes.
able to prescribe drugs?
Because you can get that faster than a doctor.
That is such a
right?
long
and it's in
con.
his building where his yacht harbor
Probably
thing
roofie
is.
drugs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or I was thinking also because when you kill someone or want to make someone hide forever, you have to take out their teeth or change their dental records.
Oh, damn. That's creepy.
Oh, that's a good call, Allie.
Yeah.
Dang.
Girl, thank you.
That was a good call. Oh my God. Totally.
But yeah, I can't
Are you
find
tired
this
of
woman.
smashing people's teeth out the old-fashioned way with a hammer?
TDS. Come to Karina's dentist office in the Bahamas.
We'll do it the humane way. The dental way.
After they're dead. But there's also stuff with laughing gas too. I could see him wanting to use that kind of stuff.
Why, just because
too.
he's a freak?
Oh my God, 100%.
Like Dennis Hopper.
Well, nitrous. You use poppers. You were done.
right,
Whippets?
yeah.
Whippets,
just anything.
yeah.
Steve Martin, Little Shop of
Whippets.
That's what I was
Horrors.
thinking was
Right.
but also Dennis Hopper and Blue Velvet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's
God,
just
crazy.
like a
that's
crazy.
like the creep hallmark.
Yeah, it's definitely a creep hallmark for sure.
So I was thinking maybe this marriage license to Jennifer was like a green card visa situation.
Maybe
In 2013.
It's a weird connection.
It's odd.
Yeah.
And I can't, I've been trying to look for this woman. I can't find her anywhere. It's only listed as a dentist.
all of this from Family Tree.
It's fucking
crazy.
great.
I'm going to have to check this out.
I know.
And
it's
then
kinda
there's
scary.
associates. There's one associate of Jeffrey Epstein who is David Rogers or whatever. And I looked up him and he's a pilot for the Lolita Express.
Damn.
Because he had the same address in like Bahamas, New Mexico. I was like, who's this guy? Then I Googled it. And I'm like, oh, it's one of the fucking pilots.
Didn't you find something also weird about one of Ghislaine's addresses about like the sexy hip hop dancers or something weird?
Yeah, she had like a P.O. box in Philadelphia listed for her name.
Yeah.
And I Googled that and it ended up being like this weird hip hop model company.
Yeah, it was a company for casting girls
For
in
video
music
girls?
videos. Yeah, for video girls.
And I don't know if it was like a company that moved in after she left or something
Right.
weird. I'm like, why is she tied to this? I could not figure it out.
I bet it's related to her. I bet
But that
it's
seems casting related too, right?
Yeah.
Right.
it was because the description was weird. Remember, it was like sexy girls,
Sexy video vixen girls or
Yeah.
something.
Yeah,
She's just really interested in helping young women get
Yeah, I
their
know. She's a
get their-
philanthropist, if
I mean,
anything.
like,
Right.
what? You shouldn't have that many addresses at one time.
No.
You're suspicious.
Yeah.
So I guess, I mean, that's kind of what we've come through so far in terms of our sleuthing. But there's so much more, and obviously so much more to come out.
Right.
Yeah.
That's a lot of stuff I never heard.
Me too.
Good job on the sleuthing. I'm just like,
I felt crazy after like 5 hours.
I know.
I'm
can
on
imagine.
someone's web, like a dentist. What the fuck does she have to? What is happening?
No, when we were talking before the show started, and it was like I had to stop myself at some point. Like
Yeah.
it was just kind of like, okay, just calm down. Like you can't get into
Yeah, the
all of
past
this.
Cover all
week.
of it.
Yeah, there's so much stuff, and like you said, like you see one thing, and then it leads you to this other thing.
And
it's just like a
all
never ending.
connected.
It's all
It's
connected.
all connected.
It's all connected. Maybe in like a week or two, we can do a mini episode or something.
I
Yeah,
feel like
like a
there's definitely
follow-up.
more to come
Follow-up.
out.
Right.
I mean, there's no way it's
Maria, with her bronchitis and without a microphone, just asked if we have any thoughts on if he killed himself or if his body was switched out or if he's dead or what we think.
I'll tell you guys what I told Desi a million times, and this is the first time
I'm
when
the star of this show, bitch.
I thought that was to the group. I thought we were doing like a round robin. I've just been waiting to say that like I've become like a conspiracy theorist now because of this death.
Yes.
And
Right.
I've like I'm not famously, just famously around, famously around people I know, I'm like very much not a conspiracy theorist type person, but I feel like this is the news event that has turned normies into conspiracy theorists.
100%.
Totally.
You know?
Because it's irrefutable, I think. You don't go on suicide watch. You don't attempt suicide, go on suicide watch, and then a week later die of suicide.
Yeah.
Well, there's so much suspicious stuff beyond even that. It's like the guards were sleeping. Like
And it
he
was a
had this
guard who
3-hour
was, like,
period where he was.
hired.
Yeah, like the whole thing. It's like.
Well, and just like all the reasons why people would want him dead and all the people who would want him dead. It just seems like very like logical. Like,
Well, a lot of the people I think who are like, oh, you idiots, like, come on, what do you think? Hillary came in there in a mask. And it's like, no, I don't think that. Like, but I
Right.
feel like even if he did kill himself, there were chain of events that happened that let him have that space to do it. Do you know what I
Right.
mean? Like, at the very least, that happened.
there's incompetence.
Yeah.
He maybe
Serious
paid
Well, not even
someone.
incompetence. Like, I can see it being like, hey, you're going to kill yourself and we're going to help you do that by getting the guard. Do you know what I mean? Like, I feel like that could be like a very likely thing. Like,
Right.
You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
he did kill himself, but he was told to and given the
But the
opportunity.
most innocent
Yeah.
explanation is still a bad one too, and that is prison incompetence. Like
Yeah.
just the whole
And the cameras weren't working or something crazy.
The prison, the guy who was in charge of the prison, I was listening this morning, is like, has never been in charge of a prison before. Do you guys know about this?
No, I didn't see that.
Sounds
He was
right.
was just instated by Trump. He's like never done anything affiliated with the justice system before.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
It's like
Trump
it's like the Betsy DeVos of schooling,
Yeah.
but
Right.
it's him with prisons, where he has like
He said
no
Trump was
background.
handsome one time and got the
Yeah,
job.
he has like no affiliation with prison system, so he doesn't even know. I guess he had no idea about like how Suicide Watch works, and that he was, stuff
Yeah,
like
because
that.
he was on suicide watch after that first incident, and then after 6 days, they're like, "Oh, he doesn't need to be on suicide watch anymore."
Right, and then they moved his roommate out or his cellmate out. He
yeah,
had
and
a
they left a
cellmate.
bunk bed in there alone.
I mean, if you had to guess what happened, what would your guess be?
You first.
I mean, I do feel like there were outside forces involved in this suicide.
Yeah.
Like,
Yes.
I mean, I said it to Rachel on the show and we kind of laughed because I framed it like someone committed suicide on. Like, I accidentally said it that way, but
Right.
it's almost what I think. Like,
Totally.
I feel like someone implemented this plan. It's almost like giving someone a cyanide capsule and saying kill yourself
Yeah.
if you're whatever
Right.
once you're arrested. Like, I feel like if he's involved in this kind of deep ring of like crime, which I do think
Yeah.
is true, there were plans in place. What will happen if you're in prison, right?
Right.
Like, and here's what's going to happen. Like, I joked about Googling in prison, but it's like obviously he had a plan of how to do this. Like, I think there are a lot of easy ways to kill yourself that you don't need to look up. I don't think low hanging is one of them, because that could you could easily survive that if you don't do it
100%.
correctly.
And then go brain dead or something.
Right. So it's like, I feel like things were put in place for him to have this 3-hour period to kill himself. Like,
Right.
maybe like that would be like my guess. Although I think I said something like this on Twitter. Like, there literally isn't anything too dumb for me to entertain as far as what happened.
Yeah.
Because you can convince me of anything because it's too weird of a story and there's too
Right.
many like powerful people involved. And it's insane to me that those people weren't wanting him dead. Like,
Right.
you know what I mean? I don't know. So, but yeah.
No, I agree with you. I agree that there are way too many powerful people involved that, yeah, I mean,
That
it is-
benefited from this
that
death.
benefited from this death. And I think that's like why obviously everyone immediately, or like most people, at least around me that I saw, most people jumped to like, oh, this was clearly planned or a murder or this wasn't just plain old suicide. Even though like, technically like, yeah, he had plenty of reason to commit suicide himself because
Right.
he was facing this trial and he's like, he got in trouble finally.
It certainly is something that someone would commit suicide
Sure,
over.
yeah.
I mean,
Right.
Absolutely.
But then there's all the other stuff about all the powerful people he's connected
Well,
to.
it's funny to me because a lot of the people who always annoy me by denying the piss tape were also saying that he just killed himself. And it's like, you know what?
Totally.
Can we have something?
give us
like,
something.
fucking-
Yeah.
Right.
Like, what does it hurt you?
You can't have both.
Right.
You cannot have both.
I mean, yeah, and there's already been
Who
plenty of
cares?
suspicious shit with this case too, like with the Alan Dershowitz stuff and the what's it called, the guy who got him the sweetheart deal, Acosta.
Yeah.
Right.
It's like
It's
we've already
connected to
seen
power,
the
like,
people
we see
covering
it.
for
Yeah.
it.
Right. Yeah.
We've already
I
have
wonder
proof
if
of that.
Epstein has the piss tape.
Dude, if I was Epstein, there's no way I would have not taken everyone down with me. That's
Right.
why I feel like something
Yeah,
happened.
I think so too.
Do you know what I mean? Like, wouldn't you be like, fine, if I'm going down, fuck everyone in this fucking world?
Yeah.
Like, do you know what I mean? Like, how would
He
you
doesn't
not
seem
do
like
it?
a loyal friend.
No. There's just no way. Even if he wanted to kill himself, I think he'd be like, fine, I'm going to kill myself, release this the minute I die, and fuck all these
because
people. Like,
Right.
if you're gonna kill yourself, aren't you first gonna be like, fuck everyone?
There's no
this is
way.
who did
Yeah.
it. Bye. Like,
Yeah.
would you?
Or at
Yeah,
least
there's
leave
no note.
something.
Well,
there's literally no way I would not take everyone down.
because it's not like he's friends with all these.
No.
Like, oh, I want to protect Donald Trump. My very good friends. I want to protect
No.
all these
Right.
people.
He'd be like, fuck you all for letting me be here.
Yeah.
Like,
Right.
So I just feel like
I gave
that.
you guys everything. He'd have like an insane manifesto.
Yeah.
No.
So
So
I was
that
going to say,
aspect-
there's
he
probably no
did.
way to write a note in jail,
right.
Right.
suicide note in jail.
No, but he would have maybe set it up in advance.
Yeah, like if you're
Right.
watching,
He
this,
has
I'm
to
probably
always
dead.
think it's coming, right? Like if you're
Right.
living that
Right.
kind of life.
I mean, are they still like searching for shit on his properties?
I'm not sure.
Maybe there is some
And I don't know
manifesto
how
somewhere.
it works, like search warrants once you're dead.
Yeah.
I
Like,
bet
can they
Ghislaine
still-
knows everything.
Dude, yeah, she
she's
knows
the key.
everything.
She
I
needs
want
to watch
her
her
to
ass.
go down.
How is she not in jail?
How is she not on 24-hour security watch?
I don't
What is
know.
happening?
Like, we should be like
Is
on
she
her
still
ass.
in LA right now?
I don't
when was
know.
that
I don't
picture
know.
taken?
That was just a few days ago.
A few days
right?
ago.
I don't know.
Did
where
she just
is.
come here for a burger? Like, what is going on?
Why was she here? Why are you traveling?
Right.
She was in Massachusetts.
I haven't gone
before.
on a vacation in like months.
I know.
And you're fucking traveling when you're like a part of this.
Insane.
Like,
She's like, I need a vacation.
Yeah, you were already like in a mansion. Come on.
Right.
Crazy. Well,
I'm sure she'll be arrested soon. They're building their case against her.
Right.
Yeah.
Hopefully.
that's the next step. Ghislaine's going down.
Yeah.
Well, look, if she goes down, she probably is the bitch who will turn everyone.
Yeah.
She'll do it. She will do it.
Yep.
You know what? We're going to have to do an like updated episode, the four of us again, because I
Yes.
feel like some shit's going to come out.
Yeah,
We're going to have
for
to
sure.
discuss
It'll be a
it.
very special.
Yeah, I think we'll do
Yeah.
a special like Ghislaine and then Ghislaine.
A very special
stuff that's been
episode.
coming out in the next 2 weeks.
Yeah.
We'll do a wrap up.
Yeah.
Totally.
Yeah. So if you guys have any theories or stuff you want to add, you can contact us. Melissa, where can people contact
You
us?
can find us on Twitter at WebCrawlersPod, on Instagram, on Reddit, on Facebook. You can email us at webcrawlerspod@gmail.com.
Or our Patreon at patreon.com/webcrawlers. Hollywood Crime Scene Gals, where can people find you?
Anywhere you find podcasts, we're on Instagram, Hollywood Crime Scene. We have a Facebook page called Hollywood Crime Scene Friends. You can join that. We talk about crime there. And then we have a Patreon. It's patreon.com/Hollywood Crime Scene.
Okie dokie, guys. Thanks for tuning in.
Thank you.
Bye.
An Erios original.
Powered by Acast.